Hello, this is McD the Beast, and this is McD Sports 4 coming to you today with my college football head coaches that should be on the hot seat. Before I continue, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button and please subscribe to the channel. We're getting close to 100 subscribers. I believe we're at 78 right now, and the goal is to hit 100 subscribers by June 1st. So let's hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. You won't regret it. I post a lot of sports content on this channel. So if you like sports, NFL, college football, NBA, MLB, college basketball when March Madness comes around, that's the stuff I post. So please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. You won't regret it. Anyways, I came up with 16 head coaches to be on the hot seat going into the 2019 college football season. It wasn't easy making this list. Well, some of the coaches were obvious, but it wasn't completely easy making this list. Personally, I was debating a few coaches, but I came up with 16 that I feel confident about, and we're going to get into it. So let's get into it. So here are 10 out of the 16 coaches I have on the hot seat. We'll start in the top left corner, Gus Malzahn, and this is in no particular order, by the way. Gus Malzahn, listen, a lot of Auburn fans want him fired. They changed his whole buyout situation or contract so they can make it easier to fire him. He is obviously on the hot seat. He is 50. What I did was put the logo of the team the head coach is on, their name, and then their overall record, their conference record, if they're in the conference, and the bowl record. Gus Malzahn, he's been pretty good with Auburn, actually 53-27 with a 28-20 record in the SEC, including 2 SEC championship appearances and actually winning one. So he has won an SEC championship. The bowl games have been the issue. He's never won a New Year's Six bowl. He's won like the Birmingham Bowl, and he won this year's past bowl at the Music City Bowl. So he hasn't won any big bowl games. And listen, Gus Malzahn is going to have to go 9-3 in my opinion to keep his job. If he goes 7-5, 8-4, Auburn should actually just let him go at that point. But Auburn overall, they set those standards high, and it's kind of because they had 2 good years. But Gus Malzahn, he is definitely on the hot seat. Second coach, Will Muschamp, South Carolina. Listen, this is a head coach right here. He's going into his 4th year there at South Carolina. 22-17 overall record with a 12-12 record in the SEC and a 1-2 bowl record. Listen, South Carolina, they have a really tough schedule. I think as long as Will Muschamp makes a bowl game, I think he'll be fine. I think he'll survive the year with that tough schedule. But if he doesn't make a bowl game, if they go 5-7, he's out. I mean, that's where I'm at right now with South Carolina. Personally, I give them a 60% shot making a bowl game. So that means there's a 60% shot Muschamp will keep his job. But Will Muschamp, I mean, he's definitely coaching for his job this year, in my opinion. And he's going to have to go at least 6-6, possibly even 7-6 and win the bowl game. Michigan, Jim Harbaugh, he's definitely on the hot seat after the end of last year. I made a video saying he should be fired. And listen, they didn't go along with it. No one ever listens to me, but they should. But Michigan, Jim Harbaugh, 38-14 with a 26-9 record in the Big Ten is pretty good, but the bowl record 1-3. He hasn't been in Ohio State yet. That game against Florida just left a bad taste in my mouth, honestly. I mean, that was just bad. And overall, that Michigan, they just looked overrated last year. Like, they were getting overrated because they were being up on these middle-of-the-road Big Ten teams, but they couldn't beat they couldn't beat Ohio State, and they couldn't beat Florida in the SEC. So Jim Harbaugh, in my opinion, definitely on the hot seat. I'll post a video of me going on a rant saying how he should be fired in the description as well. My most popular videos on the channel with over 500 views. So I'll definitely go ahead and post that up on the channel in the description of this video. So you go check that out, and that explains my reasoning on why they should fire Jim Harbaugh. Illinois, the fighting Illinois, Lovie Smith. He should have been fired last year, honestly. 9-27 with a 4-23 conference record. I mean, he's going to have to make a bowl game this year, in my opinion, to keep his job. And I don't know if Illinois has the talent to even make a bowl game. It's going to be tough, I think, for Lovie to keep his job. I was in shock last year that they kept him around. But this year, I don't think they will after this year. So we'll see what happens. You never know in college football. But Lovie Smith, he needs to be on the hot seat, definitely. Willie Target, only 1 year at Florida State, 5-7 with a 3-5 conference record. Personally, I believe a head coach deserves 3 years before any changes, if him or her should be fired or not. But this is a rare incident here, and this is why Willie Target needs to be on the hot seat. He's at Florida State. First time they missed a bowl game since 1976. How pathetic can you be if you're Florida State and miss a bowl game? That's just unacceptable. He's gonna have to at least be. I think he has to be at least 7-5. I don't think 6-6 would do it, and maybe even 8-4 to keep his job. I mean, hopefully for him he does. But after last season, Florida State might be lucky to win 7 games the way if the same talent comes. As it comes last year. They don't have a quarterback because for once Florida State actually cut one of their players that was charged with a crime. Congratulations. At least Willie Target gets that correctly. And I mean severe crimes, not just like stupid, I don't know, disorderly conduct and crap. But the guy, it was the quarterback, Francis. He basically beat up his girlfriend. So you got that going on, and he got cut from the program. Okay, Virginia Tech, Justin Fuente. Listen, this might come to a little bit of a surprise for you, but he should be on the hot seat. He coached 3 years. 3 years at Virginia Tech, 25-15 with a 15-9 conference record, 1-2 in bowl games. Not too bad, but Virginia Tech, they disappointed last year. They lost to Old Dominion. They lost to Cincinnati in a bowl game. So those are 2 teams, that group of 5 teams that Virginia Tech lost to. That's unacceptable at Virginia Tech. And I think he should be on the hot seat. Hopefully for him, he'll stay hired. I think as long as he goes 8-4, he'll be fine. But I mean, even 7-5, I think he'll be fine. But if he has a season like he did last season, he'll be gone. So that's why I think Justin Fuente should be on the hot seat. And then the coach that I think is on the hottest seat right now, Clay Helton. Listen, 5-7 last year at USC. That is unacceptable with any head coach. I don't care who the head coach is. And if you're going 5-7 at USC, you're lucky to keep your job. Just like Clay Helton's lucky to keep his job. He should have been fired after last season. But 32-17 overall with a 24-10 conference record, 2-2 in bowl game. Not bad, but at USC, you cannot be 5-7. And let me tell you something. The talent at USC, I know some people are picking USC right now to win the Pac-12 South. I don't know if they're going to win the Pac-12 South. I'll tell you personally, I think it's Utah's division to lose. USC, they have a tough start to their schedule, and they start out 2-4, like 1-5. He might not even last the season, Clay Helton. So definitely something to keep your eye on. But Clay Helton, to me, is the #1 coach on the hottest seat. Now, well, I can't say that because there's one more Power 5 team that I forgot to mention, but I'm going to mention that at the end. But we're going to talk about the group of 5 teams now. Philip Montgomery, and it should be a T in Montgomery. My apologies on the typo there. He should be on the hot seat after 2-10 last year. Very disappointing for Tulsa. I thought Tulsa was going to be 6-6 last year, and they really disappointed me. Phil Montgomery, 21-29 overall with a 12-20 conference record there in the American, with a 1-1 bowl record. He did win. Have I think a 10-win season 1 year. So I mean, he's capable of definitely going ahead and winning games there at Tulsa. But overall, Tulsa, I mean, he's gonna have to. I think he's gonna have to be like 5-7 to keep his job, and that might not even be enough. He might have to make a bowl game to keep his job, but overall, he should be on the hot seat. Frank Wilson at University of Texas San Antonio. This is one that I debated about, but I threw it on there anyways. 15-21 overall record with a 10-14 conference record and 0-1 in a bowl game. Not terrible, but he's going into his 4th year, and this is kind of a big year for UTSA. Personally, I think as long as he goes 5-7, he'll keep his job, but it'll be nice to see UTSA bowl game, and they might be a bit bold with the athletic director. I don't know I forget his name, but the athletic director at UTSA, he might be a bit bold. If this team goes 4-8 or something, he might let Frank Wilson go. So we'll see what happens, but he did get them. He did have a 7-win season there once, Frank Wilson, so he's capable of getting that team to a bowl game. So we'll see what happens. New Mexico State Independent, Doug Martin, he has to be on the hot seat. 20-53 overall with a 1-0 bowl record. The one bowl game he did make, when they went 6-6, he didn't win that bowl game to finish up going 7-6. The one good year he had at New Mexico State. Outside of that, it's been absolute garbage. I'm actually really surprised he's actually still the head coach. And people had high expectations for New Mexico State. Like, they thought they were going to be maybe an 8-4 team. I think I said 6-6 last year, and overall they really disappointed. But Doug Martin, he has to be on the hot seat. 20-53. It was up to me. He would have been fired last year. 6 more coaches here. We'll start in the top left corner right here. Mike New. Listen, Mike New should have been fired last year. If I was the athletic director at Ball State, he would have been gone. 10-26 overall record with a 4-20 conference record there in the MAC. That is unacceptable in the MAC. The MAC, to me, as long as you have okay talent, you're going 500 in the MAC. I mean, that's unacceptable. And I know Ball State, they had that decent quarterback that transferred. I forget where he transferred to. I think he went to Vanderbilt. So they had him. So they should have won some games. But Mike New, he has to be on the hot seat with that record. Bob Davie, he was on this list last year. 33-54 now with a 17-39 conference record in the Mountain West with a 1-1 bowl record. Both bowls are New Mexico bowls. Listen, Bob Davie, he's been there for a while, and I gotta tell you something, it's not working. I mean, he would have been fired last year if it was up to me. I mean, New Mexico. I mean, he's 21 games under 500. He's 22 games under 500 in the conference. 500 bowl record, which ain't bad, but New Mexico, they got to find a new head coach, in my opinion, after this year. He's going to have to make a bowl game, in my opinion, to keep his job if it was up to me. Now, personally, New Mexico, they might only be like, if he goes 4-8, he's fine. But he has to make a bowl game, in my opinion, to keep his job. Mike Bobo at Colorado State. This is an interesting one here because Colorado State had a really bad year last year at 3-9, but this is Mike Bobo going into his 5th year. He went 7-6 his first 3 years at Colorado State, and then he had the 3-9 year. He has to be on the hot seat. He hasn't gotten over the hump yet because going into year 4, people were like, if Colorado State could get over the hump and maybe win 9 or 10 games, Mike Bobo might be a candidate for a Power 5 school to be a head coach. Well, apparently, after last season at 3-9, I can guarantee you no one's talking about Mike Bobo at the Power 5 level. Overall, he's a 24-27 overall record, 17-15 in the Mountain West. So he has played pretty well in the Mountain West. And 0-3 at bowl record. He has to win a bowl game. Out of the 3 bowl games, you gotta win one of them. You gotta be at least 1-2 if you're Mike Bobo. And he needs to be on the hot seat. And if Colorado State, I think 5-7 would save his job, but it would not surprise me if even if they're 5-7, Mike Bobo will be replaced. UNLV. Tony Sanchez, this was a guy that was also on my list last year, and people thought that I was a bit bold with it, but he was going into his 4th year last year, and I was like, hey, he's below 500, has to make a bowl game. If he doesn't do that again, UNLV might go a different direction. This guy needs to be on the hot seat. 16-32 with an 11-21 record in the Mountain West. No bowl game appearances going to his 5th season. That's unacceptable. As far as I'm concerned, he has to make a bowl game for me to keep him if I was the athletic director at UNLV. San Jose State. Listen, Brett Brennan, 3-22 with a 2-15 record in the Mountain West. Listen, I know San Jose State has been rough there for a while now, but Brett Brennan, he went 2-10 his first year and 1-11 his second year. He has to be at least 4-8 to keep his job, in my opinion. And even then, I might consider the change if I was the athletic director. I mean, to me, I give a head coach 3 years and then I make a decision. Has to make a bowl game, obviously, with that record. We'll see what happens at San Jose State. But overall, it's a tough place to win there. I don't know why, because you're in Silicon Valley, but that's just me. And you also have Stanford and Cal in that market as well. But 3-22, 2-15 record. I mean, he should be on the hot seat. I mean, that's a fact. And then the last coach, Chris Ash at Rutgers. This is the Power 5 team I forgot about. 7-29 with a 3-24 record in conference play. No bowl game appearances. Listen, he's going to his 4th year. Personally, I thought, hey, first year 2-10, second year 4-8. He might make a bowl game this year in 2018. He's progressing. It looks like things are going in the right direction finally at Rutgers. And I feel bad for making fun of Rutgers because they're terrible. I'm a Terps fan, so thanks for the easy win every year. But I mean, 1-11 this year. I mean, that was a major step back. I mean, they couldn't even beat teams like Illinois. So Rutgers, I mean, Chris Ash, he has to be on the hot seat. He has to be on the hot seat. I think he has to at least be 4-8 to keep his job, and even then, that might not be enough. I mean, he has to be on the hot seat, Chris Ash, in my opinion. So those are my 16 head coaches that should be on the hot seat. I was so close to making it 17, paying the UConn coach, Randy Estelle on there, but he had like a 12-year tenure there before he left for my Terps, and then he left the Terps, and then after he got fired, which he deserved to be fired, and he was like with Detroit. He was with the Detroit Doormats for a year, and then he went back to UConn. I think he has enough ties at UConn that he won't be fired, so that's why he's not on the list. But anyways, this is the end of the video. Comment down below. Tell me if you think I missed any coaches. This is basically on the Power 5, Group of 5, and the FBS independent level. So I didn't do any of the FCS coaches. So don't comment that down below because I'm just going to be like, I don't know who that is. And basically, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and please subscribe to the channel. Our goal is 100 subscribers by June 1st. So please subscribe to the channel. I would love to hit that goal. Thanks for watching the video, and this is McD the Beast signing off.